Hello friends, I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? The mic's on. Yep, it's on. I'm doing good. I hope you're doing well. I hope everything is great in your world. Love hearing from you, so, keep that up. I'll get to all your comments tomorrow. That was the plan. I didn't tell you that yesterday. Today I wanted to talk to you about reviewers, and I want your opinion on reviewers. Like, do you look at reviewers to make decisions about purchasing products or taking in some entertainment or whatever it might be? Because for me, reviewers I don't understand. I understand the point of a review, but I don't necessarily understand the point of a reviewer. I think I'm not trying to mix up semantics there. I don't know how to express this opinion, this idea that I have. See, in my mind, there's a fundamental difference between a review and a critique. So, a critic is somebody who attempts to judge something objectively. And what I mean by that is, you could critique somebody's performance on physical skill. Or you could critique a bodybuilder, or you could critique the technical ability of a photographer or of a movie, the technical aspects of a movie, and that is just an objective look at whether something lacks structure or whatever it might be. Now, of course, almost all those things that are said involve some degree of art, and so art is always subjective. But the intent of a critique is to say you lack the technical skill to do whatever it is you're attempting to do, right? It's to look at a piece and let's say we're looking at a drawing. Okay, you can look at a drawing from a child and know that this child lacks the technique, it lacks the skill to perform a photorealistic drawing, for instance. And you could take somebody who specializes in photorealistic drawing and say, okay, you have mastered that technique, and so that's your critique of that. That doesn't necessarily mean that you couldn't review that child's art and say that this art is exceptional because this child understands storytelling through still imagery. Maybe their art is objectively bad because it's objectively not to a standard, but the art as a art piece can be subjectively compelling, subjectively interesting. And so that's a review versus a critique, right? And I've done reviews. I've done reviews on this channel. I've done quite a few of them. I've introduced you to products. I've introduced you to games. And I've tried to be objective with those reviews, but it's never going to happen. I'm a review, if I'm reviewing something, it's probably because I enjoy it. I usually am not going to introduce you to something that I don't like because I don't want to waste my energy on it. Whereas if I was to critique something, I would treat things that I like and things that I don't like equally with my time. And I don't want to get into reviews. Like, let me take that back. Maybe I do. Maybe that's a direction for this channel in the future. I don't know yet. If I do reviews, if I start doing something like that, it wouldn't be about any, I wouldn't say I'm a board game reviewer or I'm a tool reviewer. It would just be, whatever. But I don't understand reviewers because I've never found one that I agree with. Because I think that, to look at something subjectively, it's completely unique to your perspective. Now, that being said, if you get enough people to subjectively look at something and in the shakeout, it reviews, it trends to a higher, then it's probably better, right? Or it's subjectively better. That doesn't necessarily mean, there are games that have been reviewed extremely well that I just can't stand. we go way back to the heyday of Board Game Geek, when Puerto Rico's meteoric rise to the top, and it was going to be the greatest game ever. I don't like Puerto Rico at all. I think it's just a dull game. I don't want to play it. Same with Agricola, and I don't think they're great. But that's me being subjective, me looking at something that way. So what spurred this whole conversation? Last night at game night, we played The Godfather. Finally got to get it to the table, and it's been pretty much universally praised as an amazing design, as an excellent game, and it bombed. It bombed hard last night. Even the players who did well were like, I'll play it again, but that's just to judge whether I actually ever want to play it again. We actually had one person leave the table, like, I'm just done, and another person who wanted to, but was like, I'll see it through because there's nothing else to play right now. And that's a game that's been universally praised, right? And so we didn't play anything wrong. I checked the rules. We played it by the rules, but it's definitely a game where you have to play it correctly. And what I mean by that is you have to take actions to mitigate the other players just as much as you have to take actions to help yourself. And we didn't do that so much. We just tried to help ourselves, and that allowed somebody to be the runaway leader, and there was no coming back from that. We couldn't stop him. And it was pretty apparent that, to me, that we had played it wrong. Whereas to the other players, that wasn't the case at all. They felt like they had played well, but there was just nothing they could do to stop this person because they had a turn advantage or whatever. And so I go back and I look at these reviews, like, why are people saying this is so great? And I see, and so reviews, and when I look at a review, I very rarely base a purchase decision on reviews. I very rarely base anything on a review because it is so subjective. I'm looking at, for instance, I've told you a million times I really want to upgrade my table saw. And so I've been looking at 2 different models of table saw on multiple sites that sell these 2 models of table saw. And the one table saw brand gets higher reviews on that site, on those sites. It gets about a half a star or even a full star higher review ratings than the other saw I'm looking at. But the other saw, if I look on woodworking forums, is universally praised as a higher quality saw. So what I want to know is, do you look at reviews for purchase decisions? Do you weigh the good and bad reviews? Do you just go to Amazon and pick something that's 4 stars and above and buy it? Or do you actually spend time researching? Because, just because something is universally praised doesn't mean it's good. It just means it's the right solution for the people that purchased it. The microphone that we bought, the wireless microphone that we bought for the Saturday shows, is not a good microphone. It's a very low quality microphone, but it's a great quality microphone for $15. It's the only wireless microphone you're going to find for $15 that works and doesn't sound like garbage. That doesn't mean it's good, but I still am going to give that microphone 5 stars. That doesn't mean it's a 5-star microphone. That doesn't mean that this is the top quality microphone. It just means that in its price range, that's the only choice, right? So I'm curious. I'm curious to know what you think about reviewers, and whether you differentiate between reviewers and reviews. Because to me, a reviewer is just somebody who they share their excitement, and I get that. But I don't use reviewers as a platform for me to make a buying decision. I look at reviews. God, I hope that makes sense. I don't think it does, so I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to let you tell me in the comments, because I'd love to hear from you. I really appreciate you leaving comments yesterday. I will get to all of those tomorrow. Well, I'm probably lying, but I'll get to a lot of those tomorrow, and I would appreciate it if you continued that level of support. I know you can't, but just try. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do that. It means the world to me. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from The Guardian. Why are there 60 seconds in a minute? The division of the hour into 60 minutes and a minute into 60 seconds comes from the Babylonians, who used the sexagesimal counting in 60s system for mathematics and astronomy. They derived their number system from the Sumerians, who were using it as early as 3500 BC.